Brothers and sisters, what is going on, man? Crazy action in the markets today. Let's spend some time digging into what the heck is happening in the market indexes and what we can trade. There's a lot of good-looking stocks right now, so finding good stocks is not going to be the issue. Right now you got to. What's really going to be important is like just trying to keep away from the FOMO. Right, that you're really missing out on something. So we have a basically, right, a little bit of a inverse head and shoulders pattern here. And this 200-day moving average is a big spot, and we're kind of nuzzling up against it. And it's just been a key spot for a while. Getting rejected there a little bit. And it would be nice to have just a little bit of a pull to back and fill some of this area or some chop. But you don't know. Even though the markets have kind of stalled out the last 5-6 days, the price action in individual names has been just incredible. If you run like just a basic scan, right, for just you run like a basic scan for just like some movers, you just will see like this like endless parade of like, when you have spec names like this, like really running like Groupon. I mean, this never does any liquidity, really. And you got big breakouts coming. Like, look at this Cadell. So this is when like, the market is, heating up. Whether the indexes are going sideways or not does not matter. We trade individual stocks, and there's tons of earnings out, tons of news out. And we can, we can hop on this train, right? We can play all of this stuff and... Dude, there's just so much good stuff happening. And so don't worry too much about the indexes. If they chop around, look at all this just endless amount of stocks. Like there were 605 stocks on my scan today, on just like one of my scans today. But like look at how many stocks were up 6%, 7%. Like, dude, this is, and I have liquidity, over 1 million shares. In volume, look at all these stocks just over even 6%, 200 names. You just can't beat that. That's a sign of like a huge amount of strength. If you look at the market breadth in the markets, also, we have the T2108 just ripping here. Percentage stocks over the 200-day moving average also really increasing. And look at the number of breakouts today, 810 versus breakdowns, 220. That's a really, really good ratio. These are really increasing in the right manner. Remember 2023 when the market ramped? Remember like everybody just complained like it's only like 5 stocks going, everything else is a dud. Right now we're getting a lot of stocks moving, and it shows, right? It shows in the price action and just your general watch list and stuff like that. So let's just let's not fart around here. Let's get into the watch list here. So I kept these Q stocks on. They're all turds, but who cares? You got a big breakout in, this level around maybe 12, give or take. It might get there tomorrow. This is a pretty big base on this Mama Jamma. 232 million shares in volume. I thought IO and Q looks pretty good still, too. It dumped off the earnings because it just smacked right into, resistance, the first damn candle. But then, right, it got bought up, and now it's, really had like this beautiful push. And so I think this, as long as it hangs out over this 3150, is going to be, in the cards. RGTI also has a little bit of a spot that's starting to, develop here. And once again, these are, when these things go, they really go. So I would keep an eye on, all of those. Dude, I've got... Coin had earnings after hours today, but with Bitcoin, really holding up here. It hit 104 today. Ethereum hit 2,220. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing do a gap down reversal. Now, I don't know if it's going to do that. We don't want to step in front of it, but if you start to see the signs, as it's just going to pull back down into support, I think we can try it because I've seen this quite a few times, right? We did this with Tem a couple days ago, gapped down on earnings, and then boom, right? It just hit into support and it was off to the races. And we did the same thing with HIMS. You know, HIMS gapped down about 6-7% at the open, and dude, we just fucking came in hot. And that's not even a set of, normally when I see the gap downs, I short them, right? But the market structure's changed in a way where, you know, these things are running into supports, and, you know, and then they're just ramping. And so I think you keep all these. Man, I got a feeling Palantir's about to break really any day now. 125 is a breakout, but, you know, I think we want to start accumulating some of this on the dips. Its earnings gap is about to be filled, and then, you know, it's probably off to the races on this bad boy. Hey, look, I think the eToro IPO is coming, and so you may see Hood and Webull, right, really get a little bit of a bid. So I keep both of these on, man. This thing is really not that far from going back to ATH. So definitely got a shot on this. Bros today, awesome. You know, awesome reaction to earnings again. It's like they're just spiking down and people are buying it. Guys, this is like that kind of behavior. Doesn't matter what anybody says about tariffs or economy or this or that. Dude, when you have stocks that are just like opening week on earnings and then they miss earnings, they're opening week on earnings and they just get gobbled all the way. Dude, that's like a real bullishness, no matter what you see in the indexes. TAM, man, this thing has been my fucking moneymaker. Love this thing. We hit this thing at the open, first dip, ORB, VWAP, and yesterday, same thing. Fantastic. I had this at the open yesterday, and we've just been scaling in and out of this beauty. It's got an awesome setup here. I had some even for a swing and kind of took off that portion too early, but good Lord, you know, I added some yesterday on the dip, and then, dude, this is a bull market, basically, or bull market action. So let's see what's happening at the 200-day moving average. And, man, that's just awesome, right? It's not too extended yet. Any weakness on that, we want to hit. QUBT got a nice wedge pattern here. Hey, look, TTD had the end-of-day pop on earnings. This thing used to be $150. It's so beaten down now, right? You got this huge multi-month kind of base that's forming here. I think this is the right market for this kind of move. You know, the bottom stocks are getting going, right? So you want to look for stocks that are up down 50% or more off its highs. Like, don't mess with NVIDIA, right? Like, right? That's not the play for you. Like, you want to come in on some of these names. That's where the real action's going to be. Look at this setting. It's going to it's putting some hurt and a squeeze on the shorts. It hasn't been over its 200-day moving average since it was $280. Man. That is incredible, right? Like, look how far it was from its 200-day moving average all this time, too. It's finally broke over. Dude, there's some shorts in this thing, too. It trades a little bit thin, but damn, like, look at this. Like, you get a pop up, pull back into the bone zone. I mean, that's just really bullish action. FSLY, similar look, right? Like, I want to be in these kind of names with the volume increasing, stocks that are up really beaten down, right? Tacky names. Look at the Bumbler, right? Big breakout, 13 million shares in volume, 25%. We want day twos on these things, right? Any kind of weak opens on this, we want to be adding. And if you're a swing trader, right, any kind of consolidations, you want to start looking for potential swings. Even Groupon's got like a really nice look to it. Look at how much range it's clearing here. So, you know, this $20 mark was a pretty, you know, decent sized spot. So we got to, come in and be mindful of those things too. That's a good looker right there. Aklo, you know what? This got kind of a 2-day rest here. I still got my, it'd be nice if it took off a little bit. But you're just kind of flagging over the breakout spot. Not very good price action, but that can change in a hot second. I have a feeling this thing is going to get pumped at some point. And then I got Roblox on watch list for a bigger breakout. You got a 75 here. To me, that looks like if it can start, I want to get in early. Like if it just rugs in and remounts, I want to kind of come in here and get this thing before it breaks 75, right? Like somewhere around here. Let it pet the snake, right? You want to pet that snake. Right? When you see the snake, you want to go and pet that snake, baby. You want two types of things you want to do, right? You want to pet the cat, you want to pet the snake. depending what type of person you are. Boom. Hot, 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 hot. Guys, so, dude, take it easy. I got a very big watch list. Actually, it took me forever just to narrow it down. But I posted everything in the chat room. Let me know if you guys need anything. I love you. Peace.